Hello and welcome to Total Health with Dr. Nick, where my purpose is to inspire, empower, and motivate you to live longer, healthier, and of course, more abundant lives. And today I want to talk to you in this video about why. Now, why do you want to be healthy? Or really, for that matter, why do you want anything? Why do you want to be successful? Why do you want abundance? Why do you want wealth? Why do you want anything in your life? Because I'll tell you what, if your why is big enough, you can achieve anything, because there's going to be times when you are not going to want to go on. You're going to hit tough times. You're going to hit that wall, and you might not even want to live anymore. And I'll tell you what, you're going to need to know why you want to accomplish things, because that's what's going to get you through it. And I'll tell you what, I've got a great testimonial today, which I can honestly say sums this up. And I'll tell you, Dwayne, I got to give you a big shout out, Dwayne, because I'll tell you what, this was so emotional, so moving. And in case you noticed, there's a lot of writing here. So I'm going to tell you right here, right now, do not check out on this. Do not think, well, this is a long testimonial. I don't want to stick around for this. It is well worth it. And for the guys out there who want to put, well, you know, you didn't get started till 4 minutes and 20 seconds into it, do not even post that, all right? Don't post it, because this testimonial is worth it. I'm telling you. This is from Dwayne Britton. And I'll tell you what, when you're going through your highs and lows, this is the kind of testimonial that's going to get you through it. He writes, Dr. Nick, thanks so much for all the info you put out. In August 2018, I had pretty much given up and knew my life would soon be coming to an end. How many of you think that? How many of you get to the point where you just don't want to go on anymore? It's just not worth living anymore. You're in so much pain, so much suffering. You're crying out to God for help, and you don't know what to do. Well, that was Dwayne. He knew his life was coming to an end. I had a heart attack in early 2016 and had a stent put in and was put on 2 blood pressure pills. I was already overweight and gained even more after getting out of the hospital. I felt so bad, doing anything made me feel worse, and as time went on, I got worse and worse. My keto journey started on October 17th, 2018. I was telling my doctor how bad I felt all the time and that I was sure I was approaching the end of my life. I mean, can you imagine that? You just feel like giving up. Many of you feel that way, I'm sure. There's no reason to go on. The kind of pain and suffering you're having, life's not worth it anymore. He had asked if I had heard about keto, and I said I heard about it, but I knew nothing about it. Over breakfast, I looked it up, and by the end of the day, I was ready to jump in head first, and I did the next morning. I weighed 360 pounds. I was wearing 5XL shirts and 56-inch pants. I've always had low blood sugar problems, which had gotten worse as I got older. My doctor said that I was in line to become type 2 diabetic, and my guess is you probably already were. I'm 61 this year. By August of last year, I couldn't walk any more than 5 minutes without sitting down. This is because of all the extra weight I had put on and a major back injury in 1994. So when I started keto, I did so without any kind of exercise. The back injury was diagnosed that the nerves in my lower back had caused a lot of numbness and loss of support in my right leg. So he couldn't even exercise when he began keto. On October 18th, 2018, I jumped in head first. I cut my carb intake below 20, which is what we always recommend. Now, the only carbs I ate were incidental carbs. Within 2 months, I had lost 40 pounds. My blood pressure was dropping. When it dropped, it had gone down to 98/60. I called my doctor, and he had me stop taking, I'm not even going to mention this drug because I don't even know what it's called. My BP went back to normal 135/70, but over the next month, it again dropped to 99/65. So I stopped taking lisinopril, another medication. Blood pressure went back around to 125/70 and has since been at 115/65. So you've got a guy that started off at 360 pounds and his blood pressure is normalizing at 115/65. After stopping the second pill, I started feeling a lot better. Imagine that. The side effects of the medications were creating problems. And the dark cloud of gloom started lifting. It hit me that the blood pressure pills had been causing so many of the things that I was going through because of the heart attack. By the end of February, I had lost 70 pounds. Early March, and by the way, I hope this is an inspiration to so many of you who are thinking, I'm too far gone. I can't lose weight. I'm too heavy. This can't possibly work for me. If it worked for Dwayne, it's going to work for you. Early March, I woke to a really bad pain in my lower right abdomen and knew it was my appendix. I had it removed the next morning and stayed in the hospital, and due to all the IVs, I gained 25 pounds. Within a few days, it was all gone, but it took 2 months for all the pain to go away. This was the only time I've ever been tempted to eat non-keto, but I didn't give in. And once again, like I said, so many of you want to give in, but if you know your why, you won't. You'll stick to it. And he did. And by the end of March, I had lost a total of 80 pounds. April came, so did my first month-long plateau. Many of you hit plateaus. I'm telling you, this guy had all the highs and lows that you're experiencing. That's why it's such a great testimonial. The scale would not budge. At the end of the first week in June, I lost another 10 pounds for a total of 90 pounds. I never worried, for I had done my homework and knew to expect the pause. All right? We tell you about that. Expect the pause. You're going to plateau. All during my keto journey, I had been slowly reducing my fat intake, and during that pause, I cut it even more, which is one of the things I tell you. When you plateau, start reducing your fat a little bit, but don't give up. By mid-July, I had lost a total of 110 pounds. At mid-July, I had another pause, lasted 2 weeks, and I've been doing intermittent fasting since late November, eating a 20 to 4 cycle. It means he's off 20, he eats for 4 hours. Or in a 4-hour window, I should say. He doesn't eat for 4 hours. Along with a couple of 24-hour fasts a month. In mid-July, I went to doing 3 24-hour fasts a week, and the pause quickly came to an end. Right? So he even kicked it up even more. He didn't give in. He kicked it up more. He did more fasting. With another 10 pounds gone by July 31st for a total of 120 pounds now. Starting in August, I went on to do 48-hour fasts a week, or 2 48-hour fasts a week. Then also Platinum Fitness opened up in his area. He joined. He started working out on a treadmill because he couldn't walk very long. But he had to use the supports to hold on to. Remember, his right leg was weak. He could barely hold up his body weight. So he used the supports to hold on, and he got up to 15 minutes 3 times a week. I still can't walk very long without help of some kind, but I know my legs are getting stronger. Little by little baby steps. Every journey starts with that first step. Last week I started using some of the weight machines. So far I've been limiting to only about 30 minutes 3 times a week. That's great. 30 minutes 3 times a week is amazing. You should not be discouraged about that. You're doing awesome. And using enough weight to feel it. As of this morning, I weigh 230 pounds. Remember, he started at 360 for a loss of 130. The one thing that works in my favor is I've always had a high metabolism. I'm now wearing an XL shirt and 44-inch pants. Remember, he was 5XL and 56-inch waist. The goal he set for himself, of course, he's blown it away. He's reached the goal. Now I've set a new goal of 200 pounds. He stands 6 foot 1 inches tall, and he knows that 200 pounds is where he's always felt the best. Once again, set reachable goals, which is what he did. Don't set unrealistic goals that you don't think you're ever going to reach. Little by little, you take those steps. You will get better and better, but you have to start with the first steps. I can't begin to list all the ways I feel better. There's so much that I have forgotten. I wish I had kept a journal. One big way is this. I can walk out to my car. Now, once again, how many of you just take this for granted? Well, Dwayne can now walk out to his car and back without feeling like he might die. The dark cloud of gloom that's hung over me since I tried to end my life in 1997 is long gone. He actually tried to end his life. Until this year, I have not had a single day that I didn't think about ending it. The feeling of wanting to live feels so good. He goes on to say his A1C levels are 4.9 and now 4.5. All the other numbers are doing great. His doctor, of course, is using him now as a testimonial to so many other people. And Dwayne, you are an inspiration to so many. So I hope you all stuck around and heard that whole testimonial, because so many of you are going through this now. You're going through plateaus. But the why is going to make all the difference. That's why Dwayne's testimonial was so important. This was a man who didn't want to live anymore, wanted to kill himself, or actually he tried to kill himself back in 1997. But his why to go on is what made him stay the course. And your why is going to make you stay the course. Why is the most important, okay? It's always the most important. You think about it. When an athlete is standing on that podium after winning an Olympic gold medal, think about it. Are they inspired or are they motivated? Well, I'll tell you what, motivation's short-lived. Motivation doesn't last very long. Motivation's the kind of thing that you ever go to a seminar and you leave that seminar and you're all pumped up, you're all excited, you're ready to take on the world, and you get home and life sets in and life hits you right in the face, and next thing you know, you're not so motivated anymore. You step back right into your old, your old habits and behaviors. You said you were going to wake up early, you were going to start working out. Next thing you know, you're right back into it. You're right back into the old routine. Maybe you had a New Year's resolution and you wanted to start working out. You wanted to exercise. You said, I'm going to start jogging. I'm going to eat right. And by January 3rd, it stopped. That's when you're motivated. The difference with an Olympic athlete and anyone else that sets a standard that's so high, a Navy SEAL, an Olympic athlete, an elite athlete, these people are more inspired. They're using something bigger than themselves to achieve their goals. An Olympic athlete might stand on a podium and point up to God, thanking God, holding their medal up, thanking God for inspiring them. Okay? In the Bible, inspiring is when God is put within you. Okay? God puts a thought within you. That's what inspiration is. Sometimes maybe they use the inspiration of a father or a grandfather that passed away that got them into the sport and started them in swimming very early on, and they wanted to thank their grandfather for getting them started, or their mother who worked 2 or 3 jobs to be able to support them. And as a result, they were able to get through school and graduate, and they're standing at their graduation and they're saying, thank you, Mom. This was for you. This was for you. That's what inspiration is. Inspiration doesn't leave when you leave the seminar. Inspiration isn't gone a couple of days later. Inspiration is what stays with you. It's what fuels you. It's what gets you to run when you don't want to run. It's what gets you to put your feet on the floor in the morning and get out of bed because you're inspired. That's what it's really all about. Because when you're looking at your goals sometimes, and you're looking at reality and your goals, you're looking at this chasm, this ravine, this canyon over here, thinking, how am I ever going to get to here? There's just no way. It's too big of a divide. I can't do this. How am I ever going to do it? Well, you don't always need to know how to do it, but you do need to take that first step, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with that first step. That's what it's all about. When you take that step, you start to build up momentum, and then you use that momentum to take the next step. And next thing you know, the next step starts to be revealed to you. You start to see what you have to do next. But you'll never see that. It's almost like lighting up the path. As you're driving and you have your headlights on, you're only seeing about 20 feet in front of you, especially if you're on a darkly lit road or not lit at all. You're only seeing just a little bit in front of you. When you're driving in a fog, you're only seeing 20, 30 feet in front of you at best, or heavy rain, you're seeing 10 feet. But all you know is, I'm just going to go another 10 feet, another 10 feet, another 10 feet to get across this giant canyon to reach your goals. And that's what it's about. Take that first step. And then what you do when you get to that step, you celebrate those milestones. That's what you do. When you've lost a couple of pounds, don't just look at it and go, oh, no, I only lost a couple of pounds. My friend lost 10. I just lost 3. No. You celebrate that. You celebrate every pound you lose. You celebrate every push-up you do. You celebrate the fact that you woke up today. You woke up instead of laying in bed all day long. Maybe you're desperate. You're crying out to God for some kind of help because you don't want to live anymore. You're like Dwayne. Life is over. You're trying to end it. Celebrate the fact that you got to get up today and breathe, that you walked. There's people who haven't walked. There's people who would love to be in your shoes. Celebrate the fact that you were able to walk today, that you were able to breathe, that you were able to talk, that you were able to function, that you had a job to go to. Don't say, I have to go to my job. I get to go to my job. I don't have to go out and work out. I get to go out and work out. Change the way you talk in your head, and it'll change your outcome. Celebrate, like I said, every victory you have, every pound you lose, every push-up you do. If you start off and you can only do 2 or 3 pull-ups or no pull-ups, and all of a sudden you can do 1 or 2, you celebrate that. You celebrate every victory, because every victory will start to build on the next. And when you start to feel good, you're going to start to develop more self-esteem. Self-esteem comes from you. It doesn't come from other people telling you how great you are. Self-esteem comes from you keeping your promises to yourself. When you get up or you say, hey, I'm going to start on Monday exercising, and you break that promise, you broke it to yourself. You start to go down. You know it. You feel terrible. You feel horrible because you broke the promise to yourself. Even if you don't want to get up, you put your feet on the floor and you go to the gym, or you take that run, even if it's, to the next corner, you feel good. You feel good because you accomplished something. You celebrated. You split that ravine a little bit. You went across it a little bit. That's what you want to do. Because you know what? Sparks turn to flames. Okay, that little spark, that tiny little spark turns to a flame. The kindling wood, has to start before the logs start to burn. You can't just light up logs. If anybody's ever tried to make a fire, you can't just light the logs up. You've got to put paper, you've got to put some kindling wood. It all starts with the sparks. It all starts with the kindling wood. You've got to get the process moving. Okay? You're 1, inspired, and 2, you start taking those steps. Start taking those steps to the gym. Start taking those steps to changing and cleaning up your diet, your exercise program, the way you think. Maybe you're a negative thinker. Maybe you're just always ruminating, or you're just putting yourself down. Don't do those things. Build yourself up. The world's going to do it enough. Get rid of the negative self-talk in your own head and say to yourself how great you are, that you're a child of God, that you're designed to be victorious, that you're here for a purpose and a plan, that God put you here for a mission, that you can do all these things. Don't put it in your head that, hey, I'm probably not smart enough. I know I'm kind of stupid. I'm really kind of slow. I'm not the smartest kid in my family. My brother was a lot smarter than me. I'm not going to amount to anything. Don't think that kind of stuff. Don't think it at all. Because you know what? Adversity is there for a reason. We're all going to experience adversity. You're all going to hit that wall. You're all going to hit that point where you go, you know what? I don't know if I can go on. Why should I go on? This sucks. Well, adversity is there to strengthen you. Many people, when you look at how successful they are, you look at, say, a Tyler Perry, who's immensely successful in production, in movies, in shows, all these different things. And I'm not advocating what happened to him, but he was abused as a child. But he used that. He used that to create characters. That's how he coped. And creating those characters made the characters for his shows. The people who are the most successful, many times you look at them, and they're the ones who went bankrupt. They're the ones who went through divorces. They're the ones whose buildings or businesses burnt to the ground, but they persevered. They kept up. You're all going to have adversity. But remember this, you weren't buried, you were planted. You were not buried, you were planted. God used these things to build you up, to make you stronger, to prepare you for what you were about to go through. I look at things that I'm experiencing now, and I don't know that I could have handled it. The growth and the opportunity 5 or 10 years ago. I had to grow. I had to become the person I am now. And when you become the person you are, that's when God blesses you with opportunities more and more. But realize this, you're not buried, you're planted. This reminds me of a story of a farmer whose mule fell into a well. And he couldn't find it. He just knew the mule fell into the well because he could hear him. But then he realized he didn't hear him anymore, and he realized that the mule must have died. And so he got all his friends, and they were trying to figure out how to get the mule out. But when they realized they couldn't get this mule out of this well, they figured, well, the best thing we can do is just bury him. So we'll just bury him. We'll just start throwing dirt down on top of them. So they all got around the well and started throwing the dirt down. And the mule was at the bottom, and when that first shovel two of dirt fell on his back, it kind of woke him up because he kind of got knocked out, and he woke up and just shook the dirt off his back and stepped up on the dirt. And another pile came down, and he shook that off, and he stepped up on the dirt. And another pile came down, and shovelfuls came down, and that mule kept shaking it off and stepping up on the pile. Before you know it, that mule was up out of the well. Now, you could believe or not believe the story, but I choose to believe it because I think it's a great motivational story. That mule used its adversity, not being buried, but being planted. And every time you're in trouble or you feel something going on, you shake it off and you step up. You shake it off and you step up. That's what you do in this case. So you're not buried, you're planted. You know, to make a diamond and hardened steel, to make a sword like a samurai sword, or a sword for the military, or a sword for the Roman Empire, you had to apply heat and pressure. It was heated and pounded and heated and pounded. In fact, there's swords that are continuously folded over and pounded and folded over and pounded until there's so many layers of these swords that they're almost indestructible. And when you think about making a diamond, diamonds, what do you use to do that? Okay, they're underground. They're underground with a lot of heat and a lot of pressure. Heat and pressure, heat and pressure, heat and pressure. These kinds of things build strength, clean a diamond, forge steel, forge iron. That's how it's done. It's done through heat and pressure. When you're under the pressure, you got to know your why. When you know your why, you know how to persevere and you know how to get through it. But understand this, the heat and the pressure are there to clean you, to cleanse you, to get you ready for what God's got plans in your life. This is all done by design plan because you're divinely created. You have a divine promise. You have divine goals. You have divine power. You have divine gifts and talents that are inside of you. They're put in there for a reason because they're designed for a divine plan in your life. God's got this all planned out for you. The dreams and desires and wishes inside your heart, those are put there by God. Those dreams and desires are inspired by God. I used to think all the time, well, if it's God's will, He'll let this happen, or if it's God's will, or whatever. No, I came to realize if it's inside my heart, that's because God put it there. It was His will that I am connected to God. God is within us. The kingdom of heaven is within us. Now, for some of you, you may believe that or not. But I choose to believe that because I know that God puts desires and gifts and talents in my heart because I've got a mission, I've got a purpose, I've got a plan that God put in there. You're here for a reason. It's not by accident. Because I got news for you. If God was done with you, you'd be taken. You wouldn't be here anymore. If you're still here and you feel like garbage, you know, okay, I want you to know this, that you are here for a reason. You're not here by accident. God didn't make junk. Don't let anybody think or tell you that. God didn't make junk. You are perfect. You are designed by God with perfection. Just because somebody tells you something, that's their own weakness. That's their own weakness being put onto you. They don't feel good about themselves, so they want you to not feel good because it makes them feel better. So if you're here, they want to bring you down to keep you level with them. Don't believe other people. Believe the fact that God designed you perfect with a purpose and a plan and gave you all the tools. You are fully equipped to do everything you need to do. You have to believe that. You know, I think about a story when someone dies and goes to heaven. I don't want this to be me. Okay, I could tell you now, I don't want this to be me. You go to heaven and you see Peter at the pearly gates and you go through and you see this giant warehouse. And you go into this, see the name on this warehouse and it's got your name on it. And you say to Peter, why is my name on the warehouse? Oh, you don't want to know. You don't need to know. No, I want to know. Why is my name on the warehouse? Well, honestly, you don't want to know. I'm telling you, you don't want to know. No, I do want to know. Why is my name on the warehouse? And He lets you in, and all you do is you see rows and rows and rows and aisles of boxes. And on these boxes are labeled all the things that you were supposed to receive, all the favor that you were supposed to receive. You were supposed to receive influence. Maybe there was a book you were supposed to write. That book that was going to change, save, and transform people around the world that you never wrote it. Maybe you were supposed to start a business that was supposed to make some great products that would help transform the lives of people in your community or also around the world. Or maybe help people who are disadvantaged. Maybe you had an invention that you were supposed to create, but you never created it because when you had that thought, you held back, you shrunk back. Why me? Who am I to have a great idea? I'm nobody. Maybe you thought that. Maybe you were supposed to get into music and write beautiful, incredible songs, and instead, you never wrote a single one because you're thinking, who wants to hear a song from me? I can barely even sing. From what I hear, my high school music teacher said I couldn't carry a tune. Well, Billy Joel was told that. And Martin Luther King was told that he couldn't speak. He spoke too lofty and just didn't, his teacher said, don't speak like that. You're not a very good speaker. And like I said, Billy Joel was told he was never a good singer. How well have those guys done? Maybe you're supposed to be an entertainer and entertain people and make them smile and make them laugh. Maybe you were supposed to be an artist and paint beautiful, beautiful paintings. Or maybe you were supposed to have wealth. Now, a lot of people think, well, wealth is a bad thing. Money's the root of all evil. No, it's not. Money's not the root of all evil. Money is paper. Okay, let's get that straight. It's a piece of paper. That's like me saying, this is the root of all evil right here. This is a piece of paper too. This is not the root of all evil, just like money's not the root of all evil. Money's a piece of paper. It's an energy exchange. It's all it is. The value you give to it is what creates evil or not. You could take money and do great things because I'll tell you what, you can do a lot better things to help other people if you have wealth. You can't out-poverty somebody else who's in poverty. You can't out-sick someone who's sick. You can't help them if you're sick. You can't help them if you're in poverty. But if you're wealthy, you can help people. You could pay someone else's hospital bill. I used to think, who am I to have any kind of money? Who am I to have a nice car? Who am I to drive a BMW or have a big house? Who am I? But you know what? I believe there's abundance for everybody. And I believe that if you have money, the best thing you can do is help other people in need. Help other people out. Maybe that's why God blessed you with it. So if God blesses you with money, don't be offended by it. Don't feel guilty about it. Know that you're going to do good things with it. Now, if you're the type of person who hoards it, well, that's different. But you could use money and wealth to help so many other people. Pay someone's hospital bills. One time my wife was in a Toyota dealership, and it was the most amazing thing. She was standing at a counter, and there was a man in front of her who was in despair, didn't know how to pay his bill. He's on the phone with his wife, and he gets the bill from the guy at the Toyota dealership that his repair was going to be $800. And my wife's looking at this guy like she recognizes him, but she recognizes him as maybe her father's dead father. In other words, her grandfather who had passed away, just kind of reminded her of him. And when the man walked away from the counter in despair talking to his wife, he brushed up against her slightly, and she felt an electrical charge. And she felt the presence. She felt it and heard it pay his bill. And my wife was like, wait a minute, this is crazy. I'm not hearing this right now. Pay his bill. She's like, I can't believe this. I'm not hearing this right. It was around Christmas time. She's thinking, I don't want to pay this guy's bill, $800. I don't have $800 to pay for a bill. I'm going to be using it for my own presents and things like that. So later on, the man walks past her again, and she hears, pay the bill. So when the man's not at the counter, she walks up to the counter, and she says to the service tech there, and she says, this is going to sound crazy, but I need to pay his bill. And the guy's like, what? And she goes, yeah, I just need to pay his bill. The man goes in the back and he says, hold on a second, because this is kind of odd. I'm not used to this. Let me go in the back and talk to my manager. He comes back out. He says, well, this is highly unusual, but my manager said you can go ahead and do it. And he reduced the bill. In fact, he cut the bill in half. He cut the bill to $400.16. Exactly. My wife reaches into her purse and pulls out an envelope of money that she'd gotten from the bank. And in that envelope was $400.16. I kid you not. That's what it cost. Her mind was blown. Okay? So she pays the bill. Okay, it gets better. She pays the bill, and the man was so inspired, the service tech was so inspired, he said, you know, lady, I'm going to do this and pay it forward too. Turns out he plays music at our church. We didn't even know it. But what ends up happening is this. The man, leaves, okay? My wife said to the service tech, pay his bill, but don't tell him who did it, and I feel like I'm supposed to write a note. So she starts writing out a note, and she told me, she said, Nick, I don't even know what I was writing. It was like I was just being led to write. And I wrote and wrote and wrote, folded it up, gave it to the service tech, and said, give it to the man. Don't tell him I paid the bill, and don't tell him where this note came from. But please tell me, here's my number, please tell me what happened. Please tell me what his expression was. Just please tell me how he reacted to it. My wife gets a phone call back from the service tech, and he said this: the man sat in his car and cried for an hour. Okay? Cried for an hour. Maybe my wife wrote something, she thinks that it was something about maybe reconciling with a family member, maybe a son. She's not sure. She's trying to remember, but she thinks it might have been something like that. And I'll tell you what, that's a beautiful thing. But she could only do that because she was able to pay his bill. Okay? And maybe you can do that. Buy someone a cup of coffee. Okay? Make someone else's day. You will make yours by you making someone else's day. Maybe you were to have a family, a big family, and you never got married and never had those kids you were supposed to have. So, bottom line is this. There's a lot of talent, a lot of books that were never written, a lot of songs that were never sung, a lot of poems that were never written that are in the cemetery. The cemetery is the place of the greatest potential lost. All because people didn't live up to their potential. They didn't know their why. You have to know your why to know why you should pursue your goals that God put within you. When it comes to nurturing your dreams, you have to be careful about this. So you have to see, hear, and speak. When you see, visualize what you want. Visualize the weight loss. Visualize the physique that you want to have. Visualize the success that you want to have, whatever it may be. Visualize what you want to have. See yourself like that. See yourself in your mind's eye. You listen to Olympic athletes. They always say, I pictured myself, ever since I was a kid, I pictured myself standing on the podium having the medal draped around my neck. Or I pictured myself hitting the game-winning home run. Or I pictured myself hitting that hole-in-one golf shot at the end. Jack Nicklaus was always told the story of how he would picture every single shot on every single hole while he was flying to all the events that he was going to play golf in. All of his golf tournaments, he pictured the shots, every single shot on every single hole. And of course, he's the greatest of all time. Make sure you're hearing the right things. Don't hear things that are negative. Okay? You might be watching TV shows that are, one, you're seeing things that are negative, okay? But you're also hearing things that are negative. Hearing things that are negative about defeat and maybe things that are about pornographic or things that are, curses or whatever it may be. Make sure you're hearing things and putting things in your head and your ears that are positive and motivational. Because once again, when you're hitting that wall, you're going to need those motivational things to keep you, and I should say inspirational things, to get you through it. So make sure you're putting things in your ears, seeing things through your eyes that are inspirational, and speaking words of inspiration. Make sure that when you see it and you hear it, you also speak it. The thoughts come to you. The spoken word then helps to activate it. Okay? The tongue is always talked about in the Bible. The spoken word, the tongue, is always either cut or kill or heal. Okay? It could always do one or the other. So make sure you're speaking words of affirmation, speaking words about yourself that are empowering, that you're saying, you know what, I'm victorious. I can do this. I got this. I will tell you this, you all know the saying, I am. Well, whatever comes after I am is coming after you. So if it is I am stupid, or I am smart, or I am powerful, or I am victorious, or I am a loser, okay? You better make sure you're keeping it all positive, because anything after I am, and that's what God said to Moses in the Bible, I am the great I am. Well, if you believe that God is within you, then you are too. So when you say I am, you better make sure that anything after the I am is something powerful and inspiring. I am smart. I am talented. I am worthy. I am gifted. I am talented. I am fast. I'm efficient. I'm powerful. I'm a great speaker. I'm a great artist. I'm a great singer. Whatever it is. I am healthy. I am powerful. Okay? Say these things rather than I'm a loser, I'm stupid, I am never going to amount to anything. Don't let the past, remember this, the past is the past. Do you notice that your front view mirror, a front view window is a whole lot bigger than your rear view mirror? Don't spend time keep looking in that rear view mirror of your life. Keep looking forward. Speak about what you want, not what you don't want. Okay? Speak about the health that you're going to have, the wellness, the vitality. Not what you don't have. Don't focus on what you don't have. Don't focus on what someone else has. Remember, the front view window is a lot bigger than the rear view mirror. And last, protect your dreams. You know, when you think of the parable of the sower, you know, when the seeds were sprinkled on the ground, they could have been sprinkled amongst thorns, where there was bitterness, where there was anger, things like that. And that will choke the thorns out. The thorns will choke the seeds out. Animosity. You might have friends that mean well, but you know, they don't want you to mess up. They don't want you to start this business and do whatever it is that you want to do, that God put in your heart, because you know, they're trying to protect you. Or maybe they just don't like the idea that you're going to rise to a higher level and they're still down here. So whatever their motive is, they might mean well. Oh, you know what? Every business fails. You don't want to start a new business because you know what? 90% of the businesses fail. You know what happens. I'm just trying to protect you. I'm just looking out for you. You know, did you think this through? Whatever it may be, you do what God put in your heart to do. They don't know what God put in your heart. You do what you were designed to do. Okay? So protect it. The other thing too, maybe you want to make sure you nurture it because you want to water your dreams and your desires. Because if you put them on, the seeds are sprinkled on dry ground. You don't want them to dry up before they could take root. You want it on fertile soil. So that's what I'm saying. You speak these words of affirmation into you. And once again, by doing all this, you get to become all that God had created for you to be. And that's really what it's about. I want you to have abundant health. You have to realize health and wellness is your normal state. You are designed to be abundantly healthy and well. You're designed to have abundance in all aspects of your life. When Jesus came, he said, I came to you to give you abundance. So you're designed to be abundant. I want you to be healthy and well so that you can be healthy and well for other people. Remember, you have a legacy to live. There's people generations from now that need to know you. And they'll only know you if you take care of yourself. Take care of your body. It is the temple. Your body is a temple. Take care of your temple. Okay? Well, hopefully this is good information for you. If so, please make sure you like, you share, you comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much. Thanks for supporting my channel. I love and appreciate you guys. And Dwayne, you are a keto rock star. And all you guys out there, keep up the great work. You are absolutely blowing us away with all the great testimonials you're giving us and all the great results you're getting, and I appreciate that so much. I love and appreciate you guys. This is Dr. Nick. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.